Now, I won't lie, back when I was in high school, seeing a gamer girl was not a normal thing for me. Like, me knowing that there are gamers out there that are women wasn't common back when I was in high school. Because I remember back when I was in high school, when a girl was like, oh, like, I'm a gamer, it usually meant that they played, like, Angry Birds on their phone, or they played Talking Ben on their iPads, and they just acted like they were gamers. But this one time, I'm not gonna lie, a girl changed my mind on everything, but she ended up being psychotic, and that's what the story is about. But before we get into the story, I just want to mention a quick, leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already, because seriously, it means a lot when you guys do. And on top of that, did I mention that you guys should as well as click the link down in the description, because I'm currently live on Twitch streaming and probably telling more crazy stories like this one. Now, without further ado, let's get straight into this crazy story. Yo, what is going on, you guys? My name is Bubba, and welcome back to another crazy video. So today is about me and a gamer girl, and the way the story went out was honestly insane. So basically, I remember back when I was in high school, there were a lot of people in my school, especially guys who were gamers. Every time I would go to like a classroom or, you know, just hang out with like a couple friends of mine, they were all gamers. And I remember one game that was really trending back when I was in high school, especially since the Nintendo Switch came out, was Smash Brothers. Smash Brothers was a really big deal in my school, and honestly, I love Nintendo. Smash Bros is one of my favorite games ever. Like, hell, I used to main Fox. Anyways, going on with the story though, I remember one time I was sitting in my classroom and I was just hanging out, and then I remember over the PA on the announcements, they said, we are releasing a Smash Bros tournament, and if you guys do want to compete in the tournament, it will be on the projector in front of the cafeteria at lunchtime. Thank you. That's right, a Smash Bros tournament. It was literally gonna be a tournament against everyone in the school playing Smash Brothers. Now, you guys are probably wondering, when does the chick come into the storyline? Well, let me explain. I remember when all the boys were talking about a Smash Bros tournament happening in the school, I remember that they decided to make an entire group of people that would go into a classroom at lunchtime and practice their skills. So I remember I brought my Switch down and I started practicing my skills as well. Because hell, I'm gonna compete in a Smash Bros tournament. It would be awesome to flex in front of the entire school. Hey, I know how to use my hands, girl. That sounded really bad, but you know what I mean. So I remember I started playing and I started practicing. And then one time when I was practicing in the classroom that everyone else was practicing in, there was a girl who walked in. Now, reminder, it was literally like one of those scenes in a movie where like a bunch of nerds are just sitting in the library and a hot chick just walks in. It was one of those moments. And this girl walked in confidently and she's like, hey guys, like, I'm here to practice for Smash Bros. Can I borrow a controller? I remember everyone in the classroom was kind of like looking around and stuff at each other, and they're like, there's no way this girl's gonna play. And I remember I ended up taking one of my Switch controllers out and I handed it to her, and I'm like, hey, like, you can practice me if you want, because I think I had balls to actually, like, you know, tell a girl, hey, you can play with me, because I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't shy at this time. I remember the girl looked at me with a massive smile and she's like, okay, like, I'm down. And we started playing together. When me and her started playing, I'm not gonna lie, she was pretty good at Smash. Like, I've never played with a girl that was good at Smash Bros other than smashing in bed, doing the Devil's Tango. But going on, it was really interesting to see her play, and I remember I told her, hey, like, you're actually pretty good at this. She looks at me, she's like, thanks, yeah, I've been practicing a lot with my brothers, but you know, I heard there's a Smash Bros tourney and I want to play as well. Like, I feel like I can definitely like win. I remember I looked at her, I'm like, okay, you need to relax, okay? Like, I'm gonna win the Smash Bros tournament. Me being all cocky and stuff. And then she's like, actually, I think I could beat you in a 1v1 literally any day of the week. I look at her and I'm like, fine, choose your main. I'll verse you right now. Easy. She looks at me and she's like, fine, I'll verse you as well. And then me and this girl, we started playing with each other. We started versing each other, playing the game, and over, me and her, we kept battling it out. And the crazy part was that as we were playing, I remember I won like 3 out of like the 5 games we played. So obviously, like, you know, I was the winner. And she looked at me and she's like, okay, like, I'll admit you're pretty good with Ness and Fox. Like, you're pretty good. And I looked at her, I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm the best, you know, it is what it is. And then I remember right after that, she ends up pulling out her phone and she's like, give me your phone real quick. And I'm like, sure, like, here's my phone. And she ended up putting her phone number, but also her Snapchat. Yeah, that's right. I pulled a girl off playing Smash Bros with her. That's the type of smashing I do. That sounds really wrong. Anyways, going on though, I remember a couple hours went by and the school day ended and I went home. And when I went home, I remember I still kept practicing playing the game because obviously I want to be a winner. And then the craziest thing happened where she actually ended up snapping me saying, hey, like, are you still practicing? I remember I messaged her back and I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm just practicing and stuff. And then me and her, we started to play online together. Now, reminder, Nintendo Switch's online platform thingy is really weird, so we ended up just talking on Discord. And as we were talking on Discord, we were basically playing Smash Bros together, 1v1ing each other over and over. But then this is where things get freaky. I remember I was versing her and I was using my main, and I was practicing for some other characters because, you know, I want to get good with everyone. But going on, I remember she sent me a Snapchat saying, if you win this round against me, I'll send you a treat. When I saw that, I knew what was going down. That's right, boys. I think we all know what that means. So I remember I ended up choosing my main character and I ended up playing and I won. Obviously, I won. It was my main. I knew every combo with him. Like, with Ness, it's one of my favorite characters. Even to this day, I know how to do it. And then she ended up seeing that I won, and then she sent me her cherries. That's right, guys. She sent me her literal cherries when I opened on Snap. I remember I was like kind of like looking at them with my my wide eyes open. And that wasn't even the worst part. I think my sister even like walked behind me and she's like, oh my goodness, whose are those? And I like instantly closed the snap and I'm like, nothing. I was internet. Yeah, not the best excuse, but going on. That ended up happening. And I remember the next day at school, me and her, we ended up going back in the same room at lunchtime and practicing. Like I haven't played Smash Bros this much since that time. And honestly, like it was such an iconic moment for me. But going on though, I remember me and this girl, we were playing Smash Bros together and we were versing each other once again. We kept versing each other over and over and over. I think I've said that a million times in this video, but you guys gotta understand, we played a lot. But then after that, I remember she looks at me and she says this, hey, like if you want to practice over at my place tomorrow, like I'm kind of down. I remember I looked at her and I looked at the calendar and I saw that we had 2 days before the tournament started. So I remember I looked at her and I told her, yeah, I'm down. Like I'm down to come over. We can play Smash Bros at your place. And she's like, bet, I'm down. And then she ended up walking away. The bell rang and I ended up going to class and I ended up getting excited, but at the same time thinking, was she trying to get me off my game? Was she trying to mess me up? Am I getting too distracted versing one person over and over that I know I'm gonna beat? Honestly, I had no idea. Anyways, the next day happens and me and her, we ended up hanging out after school and we ended up going straight to her place. And when I got to her place, I remember I went inside her living room to plug in my Switch, but I realized that there wasn't a TV in the living room. I ended up looking at her. I'm like, hey, like, where's your TV to plug this in? And she said, oh, like, we're going in my bedroom. What? We're going into your bedroom to play Smash Bros? Okay. I ended up getting my backpack and I ended up going up to her room. And when I got there, I realized that there was like a giant, like 75-inch massive TV just sitting there. And I'm looking at her. I'm like, you play Smash Bros on this? She looks at me and she's like, yeah, like, you know, practice. Whatever that meant. Like, I don't ever think a girl should have a giant 75-inch TV, but going on. Me and this girl, we started playing and versing each other. And I remember midway through, she ends up saying one thing to me that I honestly got super uncomfortable. And honestly, I would continue the story, but this story is already getting long enough. And honestly, me and the gamer girl story will have to continue because trust me, there's a lot more to the story of what happens in that place. And on top of that, how the tournament goes. Welcome back to Gamer Girl Part 2. Me and the gamer girl. So last I ended it off, and you guys haven't seen that episode, I advise you watch it. But the last episode ended off with basically me and her training for a tournament, a Smash Bros tournament to be exact. Because me and her, we played Super Smash Brothers together. And we were both training for a tournament. And I remember she invited me over and basically she had this giant 75-inch TV in her room and wanted me to practice with her on her bed. So let's continue on. So I remember when she invited me into her room, I remember going into her room and I saw the TV. It was a giant 75-inch and I was like looking at it like with my wide eyes open. I remember telling her, why do you need such a big TV? And she looks at me and says, oh my goodness, like it's literally like a television just so I can like, you know, practice because I want to be like frame perfect. Whatever that means. I have no idea what frame perfect means, but apparently it means on Google, being frame perfect, connecting your button press on the exact frame that is necessary to pull off a particular feast. And apparently she needed 75 inches for that. Like, don't get me wrong, I have like 9 inches down below, but 75 inches? Hello? Sorry, that was a bad joke. But going on, I remember me and her, we sat on the bed and we started playing. We started competing, we started versing each other. I used my main, she used her main character that we mostly fought over. But then came to the final part. The final thing that kind of made me realize that she was into me. She looks at me and says, if I win this, you have to take off your pants. And I said, okay, but if I win this, you have to take off your top. So obviously, you know, we started taking off clothing. I won a game, she won a game. I won another game, she won another game. And it got to the point where we're literally in our undies. Yes, literally. I know, it's really cringe. And she looks at me and she's like, I think you like have like a big eggplant. Yes, I know. I did have elevated underwear, if that makes sense. I don't know. I'm trying to keep this in YouTube monetization, but you know what I mean. And I remember I looked at her, I'm like, oh, well, yeah, can you blame me? And let's just say, for me just saying that, one thing led to another. The controls were on the ground and me and her, we ended up doing the Devil's Tango. Now, that's where usually I would end the story off, but there was more. Obviously, there was a competition day and how things went there. So I remember me and her, after that day, me and her, we kept practicing in the classroom that everyone would practice in their Smash Bros tourneys, and me and her, we just kept playing with each other. And I remember there was a tournament where basically there was solos, and then they added another tournament which was duos, which means you get to have a partner and you basically beat the entire school. And me knowing that me and her, we practiced so much together, we decided to be a team. But you guys know high school. High school, when something seems off or, you know, you see two people together all the time, you kind of guess, oh, they're dating. I remember I ended up going to the sign up sheet and signing her as, you know, my duos partner for the game. She was with me. She signed her name on there as well as me being her partner. And when everyone saw that in the classroom practicing their Smash Brothers gameplay, they were all staring at us saying, ooh, you? The couple is now playing with each other. Like, they made it really gross, okay? Like, come on, dude. Like, she's just my partner. Like, relax. Can we not have girl coworkers? Actually, no, you can't. But going on, I remember as that was going on, like, me and her, we kind of just looked at each other, and she winked at me, and everyone saw that, and I'm like, oh god, like, she's really taking this to heart, basically. And let's just say, I wish I could end it off there, but it does get worse. And by worse, I mean way worse. I remember me and her, we had a conversation where basically I explained to her that, like, you know, me and her, we're not a thing. You know, what happened in her room was just because she had a really big TV, and, you know, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like, I basically told her, like, I basically friend zoned her, okay? Like, she was hot and all, but I wasn't ready for a relationship at that time. And when I told her that, she was all, like, kind of, like, pissed off, but at the same time, like, all right with it. I don't know. I think she faked it, because when a girl says I'm fine, they're usually not fine. That's one thing I realized. And she kept saying, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm literally fine. Bubba, I get it. I'm fine. Yeah, no, she wasn't fine. Going on. I remember the day of the Smash Bros tournament came up, and, you know, everyone got around the cafeteria. We had a giant projector shooting on the screen. And when the girl that I was with, the gamer girl, saw the projector, she started panicking. Apparently, she's not able to be frame perfect with a projector, whatever that means. And she starts, like, you know, freaking out. She's like, oh my goodness, like, I don't know if I can time my combos correctly. Bubba, are you sure we can handle this? And I looked at her and I'm like, just spam buttons. It's literally called Smash for a reason. And yeah, so me and her, we start playing. We basically were, like, you know, versing other people, and then we versed each other because it was a solos tournament. I made it to second place, and she also made it to second place, and we were both fighting for first. We beat through basically our entire school that like was competing in the tournament, and she looked at me and she's like, okay, it's literally me versus you. You ready? And I said, yeah, like, I'll beat you any day of the week. So me knowing that she couldn't be frame perfect on a projector, and, you know, I was able to pull off amazing combos with Ness, I literally smashed the life out of her. And I don't mean that in a Devil's Tango way. Like, I literally destroyed her. Like, boom, get out of my way. Gamer boy status ratio. You know, like, I beat her up. Let's just say that much. Not physically, in game. I remember when I won, she was so pissed off. Like, she was so mad, and everyone's like, ba, 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 ba. It felt so good, dude. Like, I felt like a king at that moment. Like, I felt like the alpha male, even though I am the alpha male. But yeah, I won, and I remember when it came to the duos tourney, and me and her had to be a team. Well, yeah, let's just say we didn't end up playing the duos tourney. I remember she looks at me and she starts screaming at me. She's like, I literally, like, slept with you, and, like, we did the Devil's Tango, and now you're just, like, gonna take this win from me? Like, are you serious right now? Yes, is what I told her. I literally said, yes, I am. Because I won fair and square. I beat the girl. It's not my fault that we weren't playing on a 75-inch giant TV. Like, I won that game fair and square, and she was just all pissed off, and she was being all mean and stuff. And I remember she literally ended up getting her GameCube controller that she played with and smashed it on the ground. And she's like, you know what? Screw you. And walked away. Yep, she literally just walked away. I lost my partner that day, and I didn't get to compete in the duos tourney, but hey, I at least beat everyone else knowing that I was the best. And I remember when she walked out, everyone wanted to be my partner in that game. Everyone wanted to be, like, my teammate and stuff, but I don't know, it just didn't feel right. I want to say later in the day, I remember she texted me. She's like, hey, like, I'm sorry for what happened. I'm sorry I yelled at you. You want to come over and play Smash Bros? And I just said no. I blocked her number. I'm gonna be honest, she was weird, Champ Andy, dude. Like, I did not have time for that. And yeah, that's basically actually the end of the story. There's no part 3 to this one. This was just straight up to the point, but that's basically it, guys. So make sure you do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And also, I am currently live on Twitch as we speak right now, so go check it out. And like I always say, fall for more embarrassing stories. All right, peace out, guys.